I remember when I was in matric, I thought I was going to become an accountant. I loved accounting in grade 8. And I was like, I'm done, I'm good. But then I just had this crisis in my matric year where I was like, wait, I think there are like a whole bunch of other things I haven't looked at. Long story short, I ended up studying marketing.
You studied marketing? Yo. When, fam? When? Yo.
Yeah, I studied marketing. After that, I was like, I don't really know if this is what I want to do. It's like there was a part of me that enjoyed the creative part of it. And that's when I switched to quantity surveying. And again, with that, it was, I don't know, it felt like, at the point, it felt like it was a good combination of different things that I was interested in. You know, it had a bit of drawing, but it also had a bit of like the number stuff. But then you also did things outside and, you know, but then after I started it, I was like, oh my God. I just decided to stick with it. I worked as a quantity surveyor for a year. And I'll say, like, I remember the first day when I got on site, I just had this strong feeling that I wanted to work with people. So that was something that was very clear for me. So I sort of always knew that I was going to shift into something that involved working with people, but I didn't really know what it looked like. Then I went into management consulting, which I actually also really enjoyed. And I learned to work with people in a different way, but I really loved the people aspect of it more than anything. And then after that, I worked in the startup space for a little bit. I just always had that longing to understand people more and to understand why people do what they do, but also to create spaces that allow people to just be. And I guess that's what has led me here, where I'm studying psychology and religion, and I could have never scripted this for you, but it's definitely, it's like just like all my worlds coming together, you know, and I've gone really deep into it, and it has really allowed me to connect in a much deeper way with like, I don't know, those like my heart's curiosities. You know, it's allowed me to just dive into them. The first time I came to New York, it was my first time in the US in 2011. I don't know, something in me just like came alive. And so I came back in 2015. I was having a conversation with someone, and then we had this conversation about New York. And then we were both like, oh my God, we want to go back to New York. How are we going to go to New York? And when you're like sort of at the right place at the right time and things just come together. But it just so happened after that conversation, I ended up coming to New York for 2 weeks, 2 weeks after that conversation. And I was here for 2 months, and it was the longest I'd ever stayed in New York. And then a friend of mine asked me to visit a church for him. And I went to visit.
What do you mean visit a church for him?
Yeah, he knew this church in New York. He was like, can you please go visit the church on my behalf and let me know how it is?
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then I went, and I just fell in love with the church because it just gave me like sort of an image of church I'd had, but had never really seen, you know? So I literally plugged into one of the one of the book clubs they had for like a month. And then a few people I met in that book club were like, oh, have you ever considered going to seminary? They were able to sort of name my curiosity in that way. And then this one guy, and he's like this older guy, he was probably like in his 70s. He came and he gave me this flyer, and he was like, here, you should go to this thing. And it was literally like an event at Union Seminary, and I didn't even know Union Seminary. And he was like, yeah, you should go to this thing. And then I went. And then after that, I like met some people at Union, and it was literally a week before I was going back home. That decision for me was a bit, it was a bit hard for me to make because I was like, what does it mean for me to go study like theology, religion, and the context of everything else that I'm doing? But at the same time, when I sat with it, it made so much sense. Like it was like, oh my God, this thing helps me connect so many parts of my life that I wouldn't have necessarily pieced together. And so for me, like coming to New York, like if I hadn't come to New York that time, I wouldn't be here because it was those people that I met at that time who were like, hey, there's this thing, you know? And I find that interesting because sometimes the people who name certain things for us, who help us navigate certain parts of our lives, aren't even people who know us, because none of these people knew me. And
so I ask questions about the Bible. I ask questions. Yeah, you should try to go to seminary school. I ask about coffee all the time. Nobody says I should become a barista. I mean, even the whole thing of like, please go visit a church for me. That's just like, who asks people like that? I'm just like, there is a real sense of ushering your steps. You know? And yes, I totally believe that. Like, and I've seen you like just come to life in this space that you're in. And I know that undoubtedly this is the way you're supposed to be. Like, I totally know. Yeah.